understand that you're not just here to simply exist. You're not here to simply survive and get by from one day to the next, but you're here to thrive. And within that purpose, you find out your purpose from the one who created you.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be the journey.
The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is the journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is
The journey.
The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The journey. The journey. The journey. The journey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have a Memphis icon that kind of has moved back across the bridge. But before we get to that, because we'll explain all of that, we got a quote from a great actress. Her name is Gabrielle Union, and it goes like this. Here's to being afraid and doing it anyway. Once again, here's to being afraid and doing it anyway. Listen, we got a man of God in the house. We got a pastor, Reverend Doctor, but he's an executive. Once again, he's a pastor, but he's a member of the greatest fraternity in the world. You know he's got to be a noob. He's got to be a noob. Watch out. Can't watch that grip now. Son, brother, husband, and has 3 beautiful daughters. Listen, we talking about brother Reggie Davis. Now listen, man, this cat is something unique. So I want you to sit here and check him out, because you're going to learn something before it's done. Brother Reggie.
Yes, sir, Brother
What's
Robinson.
happening, man?
I'm good, man.
You good? Listen, I actually went to his church a couple weeks ago. Brother drops it. So if you ever in West Memphis, you make sure you go to where?
New Bethel Church.
New Bethel Church. All right. So tell me, now you was born and raised over in Arkansas.
That's right.
Tell me about the early years. Where, what city, what was the house like, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so grew up in a small town called Hughes.
Okay.
It's about 40 miles from Memphis.
Okay.
I grew up in a loving home.
Okay.
My father who raised me was actually my stepfather. So he married my mom when I was a year and a half.
Okay.
And I had 2 older siblings. So here comes this man into this relationship with 3 children. But what I love about it is we never knew, like, he didn't treat us like we were different. So him and my mom had 2 more children together.
Okay.
But nobody knew anything different unless you knew.
Really?
I actually had people who would walk up to me or they knew us and say, "You look just like your dad."
Wow.
love
Well, they
it.
say if you feed them long enough.
And listen, if you train them long enough, right?
Okay,
And so I
okay.
think people saw his character in me.
Okay.
And so it made me look like him.
Right.
But it was really me just trying to model my life after him.
Really?
Oh, no doubt.
So let me ask you this. When did you realize, number one, that there really is a difference between the 3 and the 2, and he still loved you anyway?
Man, Larry, I don't know the difference of when I knew. Like, as long as I knew I had a biological father. And I knew that my 2 younger siblings were like half, but we never used that language.
Right.
And so it was, I don't know the moment, but like, I just know like he was always dad.
Really?
And my biological father was his first name to me.
Really? Wow. So you have the relationship with your biological dad as well?
Well, they both are gone now.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
and I wish I had done better with that relationship.
Okay.
Part of my journey, part of my maturation,
Right.
is I held a lot against him for a long time, not being present enough, not being involved enough. And now as a father, looking back on that,
Right.
I now know that he had a journey that was, I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Really?
And I think it impacted him as a person, as a man.
Right.
And it wasn't that he didn't care. And I've even come to this conclusion.
Okay.
Once he saw that I had my father in my life, my stepdad,
Right.
I think he said, like, that's probably better for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, outside of your 2 dads and your mom,
Yep.
and those in the household, who had the largest impact on young Reggie?
Growing up outside of my family, I would probably say my educators.
Really?
Because in my town, there wasn't a lot to do. We didn't have sports leagues outside of the school. Like your sports were, now we had sports leagues, but you and I couldn't play in them.
Wait a minute. What?
Oh man, we had a baseball league that was outside of the school.
Right.
It wasn't for us.
So black people could not, is that what you mean?
That's what I mean. Like black students, children did
Wait
not
a minute,
play.
Reg, you are not that old.
Man, I graduated high school in 1993.
So in our lifetime,
Yes.
there still has segregated leagues.
Man, we had a swimming pool next door to the post office that in the summertime, I could hear my classmates over this 6-foot fence, privacy fence, having a good time. But I dare not to open that gate.
How did that make you feel as a child?
What's interesting, when you grow up in it, I didn't even think much about it other than, okay, that's not for us. That's just what I thought. Like, that's not for us. We can't participate in that.
You never asked why.
No, it was sort of understood, right? But it was my freshman year in college. I wrote a paper about the swimming pool. And when I finished reading and looked up at my class, everybody was looking at me like, what? And that was the moment it hit me. It was like, yeah, that is jacked up.
Right.
And my professor said, is that true today? I say, yeah, this summer before I came here, like the pool was open. I could not go to it.
Before you went to college?
So that was summer of 93. I started in the fall of 93. That summer, the pool was still open. Now, 2 years later, they didn't just open the pool up, they filled the pool.
So, oh wow, what a message. What a message.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, dude. You got me stuck over here with that one.
Part of the journey, man.
Right. How different are you from the person you dreamed you'd be as a child?
Ooh, great question. What's interesting, I don't think I'm much different. It's just, it was a different path. So
Okay.
even growing up, I knew I wanted to make a difference in the world. Larry, I believed I was made to be a difference maker. I really do. And I thought initially that was going to be politics.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be a governor or a senator. And, you know, it was the election of 96 with Bill Clinton coming from Arkansas.
Right.
That I saw like, okay, so it's not just about you. They're going to look into your family. They're going to pull out stuff out of your family.
Right.
And I started to realize like you also need folks with pockets.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I could probably do something local, but that idea of being on the national stage kind of went away.
Wow.
And so now I look at what I wanted to do is my reason for politics was I wanted to make a difference. Like I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. I'm still doing it. I'm just doing it in a different way.
Okay. When did you know you was gonna be okay? When could you look in the mirror and say, I can do this thing called life?
That's a great question. I even think it was early for me.
Okay.
Even coming from a small town, growing up, in a trailer home on free lunch, I remember watching the Cosby Show and thinking, yeah, that's gonna be me. Like I'm gonna be a professional. I'm gonna be married to a professional, and we're gonna do well and raise our kids. Because my parents did that part, right? They just, my dad didn't make a lot. My first job, I remember my dad telling me, I came home, first and foremost, I didn't get that job as soon as I graduated. It took me about 6 months, and I finally got a job at a local bank right here in Memphis. Okay. Came home super excited, told my dad, he said, how much you getting paid, son? And this is a true story. I said, man, $30,000. And he said, man, I'm so proud of you. You getting paid more than your old man. Bro, like.
Could have bought you for $1.
I froze. Like, this man has helped get me through college. been working forever, and I'm about at 22, 23, I'm about to make more than what he's making already. That was a moment for me.
I bet. Dang. What's your why, man? Why you get up every morning and fight the good fight?
Purpose. I really believe I was made.
Define that for the young people that are listening. What's that mean to you? Purpose.
So here's where the preacher part of me comes out. Like, I truly believe the scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you. I believe that every human being, no matter who they are, no matter what race, gender, sexual orientation, abilities, or lack thereof, and God has a plan for every last one of us, right? And it is that pursuit of that plan and living out that plan that wakes me up every single day. That I know that, man, God has someone in my path today. It might be somebody at the gas station. It could be a drive-through window, or it could be the work that I'm doing today. But like my purpose is, and I can now define my purpose. Part of it is a journey to determine it, right? To figure out what is my purpose. But I know that my purpose is to help others understand, like, they are here for a reason.
Right.
And whether that's pastoring on Sunday, preaching on Sunday, whether that's facilitating sessions throughout a week, even if that's on this podcast. Like, I hope that I have a moment to say something that will spark something inside of another person that goes, whoa, I never thought about it that way.
Last question of the segment. I'm sure you, at a young age, you realized you was a black man.
Oh, for sure.
I'm going to ask you, tell us about that moment, but then tell us how that made you feel. Hold on real quick. Listen, we're going to come right back on the journey. Reverend Dr. Reggie Davis is going to share with us when he realized he was a black man. Listen, stay right there. This is The Journey on the Kazukian Network. Success in life is never a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, highs, lows, and every single event, every single step shapes who we become. This season, the journey is stretching out even further. We're stepping into new communities, meeting new voices, sharing new paths, and it's all about reaching more men so we can impact more young boys, letting them know that life is in fact a journey. Think about it. The road is where we grow, where we stumble and rise, where we discover strengths we didn't even know we had. The journey is the teacher. The journey is the gift. And it's in those steps, those moments, those experiences that our future is shaped. And that's why the journey is here, to inspire the next generation. By uplifting young boys, these stories become a guide. They show that obstacles can be overcome. Dreams are worth chasing, and every path, every single path has value. I'm Larry Robinson, your host, and I want you to walk with me as we uncover stories of strength, of passion, of resilience, and of humanity in every community we touch. Because these stories matter, and our boys, they deserve to hear them. Welcome back to The Journey. So before we left, we asked Pastor Reverend Dr. Reggie Davis, what was it like when he realized he was a black man? But you know what? Before we get to that, I got a couple other questions. Number one, what's your superpower, Reggie? What's that thing that if you were on Marvel, if you was in a Marvel comic, you throw on the cape, and what was that thing that you do?
So now I want to make sure I'm clear, right? Because I ask this as an icebreaker a lot.
Okay.
A Marvel comic superpower, the one I would love to have, is that of Wolverine regeneration.
Oh, okay.
So that I could exist longer to continue to do the good work.
All right. Now, in real life,
In real life,
what's your superpower? What's your superpower?
yeah.
What's that thing that you do better than everybody else?
I think connecting.
Okay.
God has given me the ability to have conversations with folks and bring people together who would typically not come together, who have difference of opinions. But one of my clients, the CEO of a company, said, Reggie, you have the ability to invite dissent. And yet when you invite that dissent, you have the ability to have people feel safe, and yet you're going to challenge them and they don't feel shamed or blamed by it.
When did you realize that? When did you realize that you had that superpower?
Yeah, I wouldn't have called it a superpower until about maybe 5 to 7 years ago. And I do think I had it and it was being developed, but I recognized it and said, I can do something with this.
There's a reason why I ask you that.
Okay.
Because sometimes you don't know when you're going to find out your superpower. So you got to keep living. You got to keep living and keep going so that when God reveals it to you, you can make something happen with it. So before we get to that question,
Yeah.
how do you go in front of the congregation? Because I've gone to your church.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people, a lot of young people in particular. And I mean, you really, really build them up. You build the young folks up, man. And I know they walking out there feeling like they can conquer the world. But how do you deal in it today? Today we're in a different kind of space.
Yeah.
How do you empower your young people to deal with what's going on in the world, the whole anti-love movement, because that's what I call it.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear your take on that.
First and foremost, I love that perspective or that narrative in anti-love movement, because I do think it's anti-love. And so our message is that, the opposite, love and purpose. Again, I could keep going back to that, right? So often we grow up in certain environments, like young people who are growing up in this environment, and a lot of what they hear will tell them, you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not valuable enough, just give up, right? And so I want young people to understand this. I use this Sunday. Being who God has called you to be and doing what God has called you to do. If we can help young people to understand that, being who God has called you to be and doing what he has called you to do is liberating. And once you experience that liberation, nobody can take that away from you. I don't care what the government does.
How do you get there? How do you get there? Because you're saying being who God called you to be. I remember as a kid looking in the mirror saying to myself, I know I'm gonna be great, but I don't know how I'm gonna get there. At one point I thought I was gonna be a basketball player. Another point I thought I was gonna be a football player. Another time I thought I was gonna be a doctor, but
Yeah.
I'm none of those things. But I had to get there.
Yeah. So what I hope for more young people is that they can have more adults in their life who will help them find that spark. Because I do think this, I've been thinking about this. You know, I spent 20 years almost doing youth work.
Right.
And some of that ineffectively, right? Even as a parent, some of it ineffectively because I was trying to have kids do what I thought or what somebody else said. This is what success looks like.
Right.
Man, what I've learned is success looks different for every single person. And when we try to box it in and frame it up and say, this is success, I think that's where we make a mistake. And so it's helping young people figure out, man, what is that thing that you enjoy doing and you're kind of good at it, right?
Right.
And let's fan that flame. And so like with our 3 daughters, we never tried to force them to do anything in particular. We would listen, we would watch, and okay, so let's fan that flame.
Okay.
Right? The unfortunate part is what I know, not every young person has that in their life.
Right.
And that makes the journey more challenging.
Right.
But for me as a pastor and for our members, I am helping them to understand, like the adults, let's look at what this young person has. Prime example, this past Sunday, a 16-year-old joined our church.
Okay.
Her sister had joined a month or so earlier. They asked me for a ride home. I said, okay. I give them a ride home. You know me, small talk, trying to figure out, hey, how's school going yet? The 16-year-old isn't in school. I go, okay, so how long have you not been in school? She said a couple of years. So now I'm like, okay, a 16-year-old who hasn't been in school
Since they were 14.
a couple of years, 14. Right. I said, any desire to go back? You know, so basically we're having a small conversation about this. And I said, well, if you ever decide to go back, we will help you. Because I said, I believe, man, God has a purpose for you, and it might require you to go back to school. And it's something that, you know, I want you to consider. Yes, sir. 30 minutes later, we're having lunch with a new couple at our church. As we're talking, you know, me trying to be smooth to figure out, hey, so what year did y'all graduate from high school? Husband tell me what year he graduates. The wife says, oh, I didn't graduate from high school. What do you mean you didn't graduate from high school? I didn't graduate. I dropped out of school, and I got a GED the same year I was supposed to. So when did you drop out? 9th grade. 3 years later, she gets her GED. She's now has a degree, and she's a school teacher in the district where she lives. So an hour ago, I'm talking to a young lady who's dropped out of school.
Right.
And now I'm having a dinner with this woman who I never would have assumed that she dropped out of high school in 9th grade. And I said, I don't think this is a mistake. And she said, yep, I need to speak with her. Right? So, because I don't think there's another adult in this young lady's life.
Right.
But now, because she showed up to church, we have this opportunity to engage. And now, here we're going to be able to hopefully invest another adult in her life whose circumstances are very similar to hers. And I truly believe her future is going to be bright.
So we call that on the journey, dropping a few breadcrumbs, helping them to kind of see the way.
Yeah.
And so you had just the right person to put in her life.
Man.
And that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And
God's still in the business.
He's still in the miracle working business. That's a miracle.
Yeah. He's still in the business.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So let's go back before I forget.
Yes, sir.
What was that moment you realized you was a black man? And tell me how that moment made you feel.
So that's an interesting question, right?
Right.
I think we kind of all know, but that moment that stood out to me was my 9th grade year. Actually, it's my 8th grade year. I was going to try out for the tennis team. And it really is a combination of 8th and 9th grade.
Okay.
So 8th grade year, I had been learning how to play tennis from a white female classmate.
Okay.
At some point, I'm like, I really like this. And she was like, you should try out for the team. And I didn't make the team. And it's okay. I probably didn't deserve it that year. But I got called into the office. And I thought, and I was a good student. Hardly ever went to the office. I got called into the office, and I was asked, hey, why are you trying out for the tennis team? I like the sport. I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm getting better at it, and I want to try out for the tennis team. And, you know, this was a black counselor who said, why can't you just stick to one of our sports? What do you mean by one of our sports? You know, basketball, football, track. I said, that's not what I want to play. And, you know, it's just one of those moments where it's like,
but this is after Arthur Ashe.
Brother, I brought him up to her. Now, here's what's interesting. I really do believe in that moment, she was actually trying to protect me. Because the next year when I made the team, and every time we played another team, I was the only black person out there. And I remember we went to one town, and there was as we're playing doubles match, there was some other students, and they started making ape noises while I was playing. And it was one of those moments that was overtly, and I was like, yo, okay. But one of my white teammates who was not playing stood up with his racket and said, keep making those rackets, keep making those sounds, and see what happens with this racket.
Wow.
Right?
So so you had two experiences there.
Yeah.
How did you feel when they were making those sounds? And then how did you feel when you thought about my white teammates standing up?
Yeah. Both times frustrated, right? Like, because, again, you're talking about, I was wired differently. Like, I knew I was black, but I never saw my blackness as a weakness. I never saw my blackness as less than. Even to the point that, like, I remember the first time I was called an Oreo, right? By a family member. Like, you black on the outside, but you're white on the inside. And, like, in my head, it was like, I don't want to be white. I'm proud of being black. But, like, because I don't act like, I guess, the definition.
You playing tennis.
Like, loving it, too.
Right.
Bruh, out at 12 o'clock p.m. on a concrete court getting darker.
Right.
But having a blast doing it.
They're going to call you Biff. Hey, Biff.
Bro, this man said, Biff, hey. And, I was frustrated more than anything because even then I felt like it feels like somebody's putting shackles on me, telling me what I shouldn't do, telling me what I can't be, right?
Right.
And, but I will tell you, in that moment when I saw that white teammate, and he wasn't even like what I would call one of my closest friends in the moment. But for him to stand up when he did not have to.
Right.
He could have just sat there and been like, okay. Yeah, it made me feel valued.
That would be a bittersweet moment.
It was bitter now, but like at the same time, let's be honest, as I'm listening to white people make fun of me, try to humiliate me, here's someone else who is just like them to a certain extent, saying, nah, that's not okay. Yeah, it was mixed feelings going on.
Well, listen, man, we done talked about everything else.
Yeah.
We gonna talk about the real.
Come on.
Now, you got 3 daughters.
Yes, sir.
But we gonna talk about the queen.
Come on.
How, in the first unpack for everybody, how you met the queen.
Woo! Can I tell it?
It gotta be quick.
All right, I'll tell the quick version of it.
Okay.
So I worked with her sister.
Okay.
And I got to see her over the course of a year and a half. I met her.
Go ahead.
Over the course of a year and a half, I probably met her in person 3 times, right? Because she came to have lunch with her sister. We met somewhere else, just off site. But the first time I met her was at a company Christmas party. Okay. And that was it. We just sort of met, hung out in this hour space, and that was it. And then the tough part of the story is on Christmas Eve of 1999, I broke off an engagement.
Okay.
And on the way home, I could not stop thinking about this woman, my coworker's sister.
Wait a minute. You done met this woman maybe 3 times. You already engaged.
Engaged.
And you broke off the engagement.
Yes.
And you already was thinking about another woman.
Yes. Look, and I'm not that dude. Like, so I accepted my call to ministry very young.
Okay.
I wasn't perfect, but I was sincere about it.
Right.
Even while I'm having these thoughts, bro, I grew up Pentecostal, so I'm over here rebuking the devil. Get the evil thoughts out of your mind in the name of Jesus. Like Reverend Lonnie Love on Martin.
Right.
Man, I'm literally like, stop it. You stop thinking like this. But I could not get this woman out of my head.
Okay.
Now, she's 9 years older than me.
9 years.
8.5.
Okay.
I rounded. She
Okay.
hates that I rounded, but
Okay.
9 years older than me. I'm living in my parents' home.
Okay.
She's independent, own house, car, the whole 9, right?
Okay.
And I keep telling myself, stop thinking about this woman. You don't have a chance.
Okay.
A couple of weeks later, I get her number. I call her to ask her out on a date, and I ask her to marry me.
Wait a minute. Hold up, brother. Wait. Stop. You called this woman for her for a first date.
First date.
You've never been on a date with her before.
No.
And in that call, you ask her to marry you.
Yes.
Okay, obviously her response was yes.
Obviously.
How long from that moment did it take for y'all to get married?
9 months from that day.
Y'all actually did it.
Yeah, so she basically ended up saying yes. I'm shocked. I think she's shocked. And the conversation sort of went, so maybe we should get to know each other. I said, so we're having that conversation, and I said, well, look, I got to.
But before y'all had a first date, she had already agreed to marry you?
Yes. So I felt like I knew her through her sister. Like, we talked about our families and our lives all the time. So I think I felt like I knew her. And, you know, the apple doesn't fall from the tree deal.
Right.
Like, okay, your sister is awesome, so you can't be that bad, right? Like, similar values, the whole nine, family values. And she hot now, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
She looked good.
Right.
And so I just kind of felt like
You knew.
this is the one, right?
You knew. Wow.
And so how she felt was she had a 10-hour drive with her sister, and I had made a phone call to her, and she was just like, why did your married coworker call me? And she was like, no, he broke off the engagement. They never got married. She was like, but still, why did he call me? She was like, I think he likes you. And so according to them, for about 8 hours, they talked about me. And
So she got to know you.
she got to know me
From
through her sister.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and one of the phrases her sister said, look, he's young. Honestly, he's got a lot to learn, but she said his heart is genuine. He loves God, he loves family, and he's a good person. And she said that kind of, and her and her sister were tight. And she said, if my sister loved you that much, that said a lot to me.
That's dope, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
a story for the ages, man.
Bro.
Talking about love at first sight, hearing something. I don't know what you were doing.
Yeah, because I mean, the very first time I met her, I was with my fiance at the time, right? So it wasn't like I saw her, went, oh, she's dope. I love her voice, but it wasn't like, ooh, yo. That was not the thought. It was just like, man, she's. As a matter of fact, on the way home from that event, my then girlfriend, fiance said, we were talking about all the people we met. And she said, oh, and Stacy's sister, Kim, she was awesome. And I was like, yeah, she was. She was like, she's going to make somebody, I can't believe she's not married. She's going to make somebody an awesome wife.
Show did.
Bro.
She was prophetic.
We didn't know. We didn't know. And look, and they're friends to this day. Like, they're like not best friends, but like, there's no malice. She's married, great husband, got a family. They're sorority sisters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What role did Memphis play in your life?
Huge role, man. This is where I grew up. Like, really, as a man. I grew up here. I was raised in Arkansas, but I became a man here. I became a husband here. I became a father here. I took my community engagement to the next level here. Just, man, learning to care about people at a different level and really understanding what I saw in my father, and I was trying to model seeing it differently and being able to walk that out. And in my own journey, right? Like being away from family and becoming my own person, that was huge.
So I'm going to take you back. You're going back to Hughes. We going to Hughes.
Okay, let's go.
Me and you, we get in the car,
Come
we
on.
roll back to Hughes.
Yes, sir.
You see the old crib, the old trailer. You walk up in the door, open the door. Young Reggie sitting right there watching TV. What would you say to young Reggie if you could see him today?
Man, wow, that's a great question. I think I would say something similar to, man, follow your heart. Because even then I had a really good heart. I cared about people. And because I didn't grow up with a lot, I wanted money. And I think you can have both, right?
Right.
But I would also say growing up in the church environment that I grew up in the South, right? The black church in the South, those felt like two opposing thoughts to me. Can you honestly serve God and have money and wealth? And to like go back and say, hey, young fella, you can go after both passionately with everything you got, and watch what he does with that.
Wow. All right, you done spoke to yourself. I want you to look in that camera right there.
Okay.
And I want you to leave all these young people and probably some old folks a Reggieism that they know that they were here in this moment. You said you want to leave people with something. Here's your opportunity.
Wow.
Right there.
All righty. So to all the listeners who are listening, because I know there's a big following here with the journey, if I could leave you with a bit of advice. One, I am a pastor. So one, I would say, understand that God has a purpose for you. Understand that you're not just here to simply exist. You're not here to simply survive and get by from one day to the next. But you're here to thrive. And within that purpose, you find out your purpose from the one who created you. And just know, like, if you're willing to seek him, learn from him. And the way we learn about him is not only through his word, which I highly encourage, but like through others. God placed people in our lives so that we can learn about ourselves, we can learn about him, learn about our purpose. And so, again, I believe this, we should be seeking freedom in our life. And I do believe that freedom is being who God has called you to be and doing what he has called you to do. And that journey of that happens within relationships. Relationships with those individuals, whether it's family, friends, mentors, God has placed in your life, and being open to the journey. And understand this, the journey, man, it's going to have some pitfalls. You're going to have some slides. I was walking the other day and just literally walking, and there was a slight incline on the sidewalk and I tripped. That's going to happen in life. Like, you think you're smooth, you think everything's going the way you want it to, and it might not. But just get up and keep walking and keep going forward. And hey, I encourage you to become bold enough, brave enough, and savvy enough to be that person that God has purposed you to be.
Cool. Here's to being afraid and doing it anyway.
Man.
Bro, I would have been afraid to ask the lady to marry me without even being on a first date. That's pretty powerful.
You know, she jokes and says, man, that was the bravest thing you've ever done in my 24 years of knowing you. And it probably was, right?
24 years.
It'll be 25 in October.
Wow. Listen, I told you, I'm going to keep bringing these amazing men. This case is the amazing brother of the Mid-South. But nevertheless, hopefully you got something from it. Listen, I'm Larry Robinson. For our guest, Brother Reggie Davis.
Thank you, brother.
Noop. Thank
Yo.
you. Thank you. Till next time, this is The Journey on the Kazukian Network.